Hey friends, welcome back to this homeschooling naturopath. If you're new here, my name's Hannah and I'm a homeschool mom of 3 girls who are 11, 9, and 7, and I'm also a fully qualified naturopath living in New Zealand. On this channel, I like to share content related to homeschooling, homemaking, motherhood, as well as some naturopathic info throughout some of my content here. In today's video, I am breaking down our full homeschool schedule for you guys. I'm going to be going through our yearly schedule, our weekly schedule, and our daily schedule to kind of explain how we manage to fit in all of our curriculum and get it all done. So if you're interested to hear about that, keep watching. Alrighty, so homeschool scheduling. Now I already have at least 2 videos that I can think of up on my channel, which I will link down below for you guys, that explains how I have done scheduling in the past. I actually have a very similar video from probably about this time last year where I was actually sitting in front of this same bookshelf explaining some changes I was making to our schedule and why, and all of that. It was a very chatty one. I'll link that down below if you want to know a bit more in-depth info about why we have the schedule that we do. I'm not going to get into that here in this video. I'm just going to get into the schedule, but that will be linked down below if you want to go watch it. Here in New Zealand, our summer months are December, January, and February, I think. Yeah. December, January, and February. Those are the months of summer for us down here in the southern hemisphere, and so as such, our school years run to cater to that. So here in New Zealand, the typical school year runs from about February to about mid-December-ish, and that's the public school system. The public school system here also does 4 big terms. It's about 4 10-week terms, 9 to 10-week terms with 2-week breaks in between. Now, we used to do that type of schedule for the first 2 years of our homeschool. That is a schedule that we stuck to. However, after 2 years, I was like, this is not working out. This is not conducive to good mental health, and I really had to make some changes. So I changed our schedule to be 6 weeks on, 1 week off, with 6 6-week terms. So that is our yearly schedule in our homeschool. That is how we run the year. This yearly schedule was the schedule that we followed last year for 2024, and it was so much better for everybody in our family. It really suited us a lot better, and it's definitely a schedule that we're going to continue with. As I'm filming this video, we are already actually on our very first break of the year. So we started our first day of school on January 13th. And typically, again, as I said, most schools don't go back until, sometime within the 1st or 2nd week of February. That is not what I wanted to do this year. Last year, we started much later. However, this year we're having a baby. Our baby is going to be arriving sometime before June, hopefully. So I really wanted to kind of preload our work up so that we can get a lot done before this baby comes, because I have never homeschooled with a newborn baby and I don't know what it's going to be like. So anyways, we started school on January 13th. As I'm filming this today, it's actually, what's the day? Today, as I'm filming, it's February 23rd. So we have officially finished the first term of our homeschool year, and we're now headed into our first 1-week break. And then you can see here, we will go back to school on the 3rd of March and carry on for another 6 weeks until we take a break at Easter time. From there, we'll go for another 6 weeks. We'll be starting on April 21st and go right up to June. So again, we'll probably have a baby by then. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this schedule can be stuck to come that time. We'll see how we go. I have the highest hopes. So hopefully we'll be able to start back. This is in my mind. We'll be able to start back to school on June 9th and carry on for another 6 weeks right up until July 20th. And then we'll have another 1-week break. Carrying on to August, we will school the whole month of August and then have a break the 2nd week of September. Again, another 6 weeks. And that will actually be our 6-week terms. So if we actually stick to the schedule and work to these specific dates, we'll be finished with our homeschool year by November, which would be amazing because we are traveling a lot come that time anyway. This is generally a time of year where we're my husband is going back and forth for rugby in between cities, and so we often relocate with him. Around this time of year is also when my husband might have a little bit of time off. So like last year we went to the Pacific Islands in November, and so that really offset our schedule and all of that. So it would be fabulous if we're able to be finished with school come November, but we'll see. If we end up taking 6 weeks off when this baby's born, we'll see how we go. Obviously, you guys, when it comes to homeschool scheduling, you cannot be super rigid, and I'm sure you guys know this. You know, sometimes exceptions have to be made if there's sickness, if there's big changes, whatever. You know, this is not a set in stone schedule, but it is what I would like to aspire to. The month of December, I have always tried to make exclusively Christmas schooling. So what I would really like is to not have any math or language arts for any of my children to do for the whole month of December. However, like I said, we'll see how we go with that. So that is what our yearly layout is looking like for 2025. Now let's get into our weekly layout. All right, so I have this beautiful little printout, which I made over on Canva. I've actually, again, I've got a full video of myself making this at some point in the last 2 years. I kind of changed the layout slightly, the design ever so slightly this year. So our weekly schedule, I think this is where I certainly was getting caught up a lot in our first year of homeschooling. I was very confused as to how I was going to plan out all of our curriculum to fit within a week, and what that looks like. I totally understand if you're feeling like that. Know that you're not alone, because it's a lot to adjust to, and it can be very difficult to figure out where to fit everything. You know, you may have bought all of your curriculum and be really confident with what you have, but just have no idea how it's all going to fit in a week, let alone a year. I have always really liked to make timetables for us, even if we don't stick to them to a T. I find a visual representation of our week to be very helpful. So as you can see from our homeschool timetable here, we school Monday through Friday. However, Friday is a much lighter day. It is our enrichment day, and then like a quote-unquote fun Friday. So really, Friday is very different to any other day of the week for us. So Monday through Thursday are where the bulk of our science and history and social studies and geography and math and language arts, that is where the bulk of our work happens, is the Monday through Thursday. So I'll just run through the list here and kind of explain how our week flows. So my girls are involved in quite a few different sports, as you guys can see, and so I just put in what sports we have on at the general times, and then I build our weekly schedule around those sports and around what activities we have on with our homeschool group. At the moment, Monday is the only day that we officially do not have anything planned with our homeschool group, and so Monday in particular is like a very get it all done day for us, very academic. We're just doing our gather round unit, which for term 2 we're doing earth science from gather round. We've just wrapped up a space. Gather round has 20 lessons, so in order to complete a gather round unit within 6 weeks, we have to do it at least 4 days a week. Again, I make sure that our schedule reflects that. Our gather round is the bulk of a lot of what we are studying at the moment, so it's very important that I make sure I have our gather round days put in so that we do not just like let it slide. And then, of course, close second is making sure my girls are getting their math and language arts done. My girls do math and language arts 4 days a week. When you go to sit down to plan out your week with all of your homeschool curriculum, you know, just take into consideration how many lessons are in each thing that you need to get done, and you know, you can kind of calculate how many times a week you need to be doing a subject in order to complete it by the end of this school year. Moving on now to the daily schedule that I have for us here. Every day we start school by 9 a.m. That's the goal anyways. My girls all have morning chores to do, you know, simple things, making your bed, getting dressed, getting ready for the day, and then they all have chores that they rotate through in the morning as well, emptying the dishwasher, putting a load of washing on, picking up dog poo, all of that really fun stuff. And by 9 a.m. we are sitting down for morning basket time. I've got a couple of videos explaining our morning basket time routine, which I will link down below for anybody interested. On a Monday and Tuesday, we roll straight into our gather round unit. Following morning basket time, generally we'll have a super quick tidy up of the table. We're usually eating breakfast while we do morning basket time. That is a way that my kids sit a little bit more still and attentive while we go through all of our morning basket subjects. So as soon as we're done eating breakfast, we'll have a little tidy up, and then we will get straight into our gather round units on those days. On a Monday following our gather round, and again, you know, 10 to 11 or 11:30 is kind of a broad time. Like, I don't follow these times to a T. This is just kind of the routine that we go through in a day. So read and feed, this is just a snack time. I usually try to read a read aloud. We're in a homeschool book club, and so this is the time when I will try and sit down and read a couple chapters of our book club book. However, lately, our gather around unit has been dragging into snack time, so we're generally still sitting around the table having our snack while we're finishing our gather around unit. Once read and feed time / gather round time is finished on a Monday, my girls generally need to take a break, as do I, and so this is a time when we kind of, you know, they'll go play outside, run around for a little bit. I'll do a quick little cleanup of the house and all of that, and then we will get into math and language arts time, and this is our independent subject time where I will sit down individually with my younger two daughters. My oldest daughter now is very independent, and she just goes to her desk and gets the vast majority of her work done. So independent work time right through to lunchtime is probably like the busiest time of day for me, because while I'm working with my younger two to get their independent subjects done, I'm also usually preparing lunch. So as soon as everyone's finished with their independent work, we will sit down to have lunch. I'll put a picnic blanket down on the living room floor and put on like a documentary or a Magic School Bus episode, or something along those lines. If it's a really nice day, we'll go sit outside and I'll read a book while we have our lunch. After that, assuming everyone is actually done with their independent subjects, they get to move on to free playtime on a Monday afternoon, and Monday afternoon is generally when I get my filming done. So if you see me coming to you in a video, it was probably filmed on a Monday afternoon, unless it's like a day in the life or, you know, something that I'm filming throughout the day. Tuesdays are slightly different because we have a sports day with our homeschool group on a Tuesday afternoon, so I kind of have to cram in our gather around unit as well as our independent subjects in the morning before we go to sports in the afternoon, because I can tell you that once we go to sport in the afternoon, there is zero chance of my kids actually getting work done when we arrive home. And nor do I want to be doing schoolwork after sport. Moving on to Wednesday. Currently Wednesday mornings we have started back at surfing lessons. Surfing is something that my kids really enjoy. We do our morning basket time because, again, we sit down and have breakfast while we do this. So it's not hard to just incorporate our usual morning basket time while we eat. And then we're straight out the door for surfing. Surfing will take us right up to lunchtime. So again, for me, that means I need to be mindful of having prepped lunch earlier in the day. So yeah, it's a lot, right? Following lunchtime is when we get into our gather round unit and our independent subjects. So because that surfing is on in the morning, it really does offset that whole day for us. I don't really like to work in the afternoon, nor do my kids. However, that's just the way it has to be if they want to do surfing lessons at the moment. Thursday, again, starts very similarly with morning chores, breakfast, morning basket time, and then we have jujitsu for an hour in the morning. We come home, we have lunch, and then again, we get into our gather round unit and our independent subjects. Once my girls are all finished with that, they have free play for the rest of the day. Now, Friday is very different for us. On a Friday, we do our enrichment subjects. What enrichment subjects look like in our homeschool is at the moment, my girls are learning button sewing. So on a Friday morning when we sit down for our morning, quote unquote, morning basket time, but it's our morning basket time on a Friday is extended and it is slightly different to what it is every other day of the week. So I'll pass out all of our button sewing equipment, and while my girls practice sewing their buttons, we get into our other enrichment subjects. So for example, our artist study, we're currently studying Vincent van Gogh. We will take time on a Friday morning to study his artwork, do some painting if anybody wants to. We will do our poet study. Currently we're studying Robert Louis Stevenson. So we'll read about him, we'll read one of his poems. I also have a native New Zealand bird study, which I have formulated myself, and we do that on a Friday morning as well, learning about a new bird every week, as well as a couple other enrichment subjects. I can't actually think of all of them right now. There's quite a few. I like to fit a lot in our enrichment time on a Friday. It's just a special time where we get to learn about things and talk about things that we don't really get time for throughout the rest of the week. So our Friday enrichment time is pretty precious and important to our homeschool and to our learning. So I really like to prioritize making sure that all of that gets done. And Friday for my girls also looks slightly different as far as their independent subjects go. We do not do math or language arts on a Friday generally. However, one of my daughters is currently doing has to do a lesson of language arts on a Friday to cater to her 5-day-a-week curriculum. And typically on a Friday afternoon, we have some sort of activity on, whether it be a field trip or an activity with our homeschool group, or even just something fun that's a little bit out of the ordinary for us in our homeschool. Right now, we have a book club meetup once a month on a Friday afternoon, as well as once a month we have a field trip at the local museum. So that ticks off 2 Fridays of the month for Fun Friday. The other 2, I just kind of try and get creative. Sometimes my husband also has his day off work, so, you know, depending where he's at and all of that, we just do something fun that is slightly different for us. So that, in a nutshell, is our yearly, weekly, and daily layout. What I also want to quickly show you guys is my daughter's weekly to-do checklists. I feel like this will be really helpful to give you a better idea of how our days really end up going. Starting off with my oldest daughter's work, as you can see, Monday through Friday here, her independent work that she is to get done during that independent block of that math and language arts time. On a Monday, language arts, math, typing. Tuesday, language arts, math, and then US history. This Wednesday, language arts, math, typing. Thursday is just language arts and math. And then on a Friday, again, Friday is our enrichment day, so their independent subjects look slightly different. On Friday, she has ancestral nutrition and bookshop math, which I will link to her curriculum pics video down below if you want to see what these things look like. My middle daughter, this is what her weekly schedule is looking like right now. Monday, language arts, math, editor-in-chief. Tuesday, language arts, math, typing. Wednesday, language arts, math, editor-in-chief. Thursday, language arts, math, typing. And then Friday, again, slightly different for her. She does have her language arts because her language arts is set up for a 5-day week, like I've already mentioned. And then her enrichment subjects that she does on a Friday are Growing Up with God by Gather Round Homeschool and her logic, which again, I'll link to her curriculum video down below in case you want to see what these things look like. And then my youngest daughter here, on a Monday, she has got reading, math, phonics. Tuesday, she is doing reading, math, and handwriting. Wednesday, she's doing reading, math, and phonics. Thursday, she's doing reading, math, and handwriting. And on a Friday, she has got reading. And then her, just because reading is, you know, up there with on my priority list. So she does read on a Friday, and then her sort of enrichment slash elective subjects. She also does logic as well as story writing. And again, I will link to her curriculum picks video down below if you want to see what all of this looks like. So there you have it, you guys. I hope that wasn't too overwhelming, and I hope I explained things well enough. It's kind of late in the afternoon for me to be sitting here explaining things like this. I think really, you know, homeschool scheduling, it just comes naturally with practice. We're now in our 4th year of homeschool, and I can tell you that I just naturally know a lot more now than I did when we first started. So it's really just trial and error and figuring out what works best for you and your homeschool and your curriculum. So take my homeschool scheduling methods with a grain of salt and just really seek to figure out what works best for you and your family and your homeschool. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been somewhat informative. I feel like I've just rambled the whole time. Maybe I have, I don't know. I won't know till I go through and edit this. Anyways, thank you all again so much. I appreciate your view and I appreciate you, and thank you for being here. If you've made it this far into the video, you're one of a kind. All right, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.